vehicles within this single complex, a prime example of vertical integration production. 6. Some of the River Rouge buildings were designed by architect Albert Kahn. His Rouge glass plant was regarded at the time as an exemplary and humane factory building, with ample natural light provided through windows in the ceiling. Since the late 20th century, several buildings at the Rouge. Visitation 148,000, 2017. NIHP reference number 78001516. Significant dates added to NIHP June 2, 1978. 1. Designated NHLD June 2, 1978. 2. Designated MSHS December 14, 1976. Complex have been renovated and converted to green structures with a number of environmentally friendly features. In the summer of 1932, through Edsel Ford support, Mexican artist Diego Rivera was invited to study the facilities at the Rouge. These studies informed his set of murals known as Detroit Industry. 6. Production. Interior of the Rouge Tool and Die Works. 1944. The plant's first products were Eagle boats, World War I anti-submarine warfare boats produced in Building B. The original Building B, a three-story structure, is part of the legendary Dearborn assembly plant, which started producing modelers in the late 1920s and continued production of Ford full-sized coupes and sedans through 2004. After the war, production turned to Ford Sun tractors. Although the Rouge produced nearly all parts of the Model T, assembly of that vehicle remained at Highland Park. It was not until 1927 that automobile production began at the Rouge with the introduction of the Ford Model A. During World War II, the Rouge complex produced jeeps, aircraft engines, aircraft components and parts, tires and tubes, armor plate, and tractors. 7. Other Rouge products included the 1932 Model B, the original Mercury, the Ford Thunderbird, Mercury Capri, and 4 decades of Ford Mustangs. The old assembly plant was idled with the construction and launch of a new assembly facility on the Miller Road side of the complex, currently producing Ford F-150 pickup trucks. The River Rouge complex manufactured most of the components of Ford vehicles, starting with the Model T. Many of the vehicles were compiled into knockdown kits, then sent by railroad to various branch assembly locations across the United States in major metropolitan cities to be locally assembled, using local supplies as necessary. 6. After the 1960s, Ford began to decentralize manufacturing, building several factories in major metropolitan centers. The Rouge was downsized, with units, including the famous furnaces and docks, sold off to independent companies, many still operating independently to this day. On the 26th of May, 1937, a group of workers attempting to organize a union at the Rouge were severely beaten, an event later called the Battle of the Overpass. Peter E. Martin's respect for labor led to Walter Reuther, a UAW leader, allowing Martin to be the only Ford manager to retrieve his papers or gain access to the plant. 8. The Rouge was one of only 3 locations where Ford manufactured the Mustang. The other sites were Metuchen Assembly in Edison, New Jersey, and San Jose Assembly in Milpitas, California. Lake freighters maneuver in the canal to unload ore at the plant. 1973. By 1987, only Mustang production remained at the Dearborn Assembly Plant, DAP. In 1987, Ford planned to replace that car with the front-wheel drive Ford Probe, but public outcry quickly turned to surging sales. With the 4th-generation Mustang a success, the Rouge was saved as well. Ford decided to modernize its operations. A gas explosion on the 1st of February, 1999, killed 6 employees and injured 24 more, resulting in the idling of the power plant. Michigan utility CMS Energy built a state-of-the-art power plant across Miller Road to replace the electricity and steam production, as well as the blast furnace waste gas consumption of the original power plant. 9. As it ended production, Dearborn Assembly Plant was one of 6 plants within the Ford Rouge Center. The plant was open from 1918 to the 10th of May, 2004, with a red convertible 2004 Ford Mustang GT being the last vehicle built at the historic site. Demolition of the historic DAC facility was completed in 2008. All that remains is a 3,000-place parking lot to hold light truck production from the new Dearborn truck plant. Ford Rouge Center. Today, the Rouge site is home to Ford's Rouge Center. This industrial park includes 6 Ford factories on 600 acres, 2.4 square kilometers, of land, as well as steel-making operations run by Cleveland Cliffs, a U.S. steelmaker. The new Dearborn truck factory famously features a vegetation-covered roof and rainwater reclamation system designed by sustainability architect William McDonough. This facility is still Ford's largest factory and employs some 6,000 workers. Mustang production, however, has moved to the Flat Rock Assembly Plant in Flat Rock, Michigan. Tours of the Rouge complex were a long tradition. Free bus tours of the facility began in 1924 and ran until 1980, at their peak hosting approximately 1 million visitors per year. They resumed in 2004 in cooperation with the Henry Ford Museum with multimedia presentations, as well as viewing of the assembly floor. The Ford Rouge factory tour had 148,000 visitors in 2017. 10. President Joe Biden, Ford CEO Jim Farley, and 2 other men are seen talking to one another during Biden's visit to the Ford Rouge Electric Vehicle Center on the 18th of May, 2021. President Joe Biden during his visit to the Ford Rouge Electric Vehicle Center in 2021. Hourly workers from both Ford and AK Steel facilities at the complex are represented by UAW Local 600. A fleet of 3 Ford-owned Great Lakes freighters initially named for the Ford grandsons and later renamed for top company executives, was based at the River Rouge plant. The deck house of the SS Benson Ford was transported by crane barge to Put in Bay, Ohio, and placed on an 18-foot cliff as a private home above Lake Erie. 11. In September 2020, Ford announced construction of the new Rouge Electric Vehicle Center, where the electric vehicles will be produced. 12. In 2021, the vehicle center opened, and Ford's first all-electric truck, the Ford F-150 Lightning, will be the first vehicle model produced there. 13. Green roof in 2019. Renovated architecture. In 1999, architect William McDonough entered into an agreement with Ford Motor Company to redesign its 85-year-old, 1,212-acre, 490 ha, Rouge River facility. 14. The roof of the 1.1 million square foot, 100,000 square meters, Dearborn truck assembly plant was covered with more than 10 acres, 4.0 ha, of sedum, a low-growing ground cover. The sedum retains and cleanses rainwater and moderates the internal temperature of the building, saving energy. The roof is part of an $18 million rainwater treatment system designed to collect and clean rainwater annually, sparing Ford from a $50 million mechanical treatment facility. 15. Current product made. Ford F-150, 1948 present. Ford F-150 Lightning electric pickup, 2022 present. Former products made. Eagle Class Patrol Craft, 1918-1919. Fordson Tractor, 1921-1928. Ford Model T parts only, 1920s. Ford Model 1927-1932. Ford Model B, 1932, 1934. Ford Model 48, 1935, 1936. 1937 Ford, 1937, 1940. 1941 Ford, 1941, 1942, 1946, 1949. 1949 Ford, 1949, 1951. 1952 Ford, 1952, 1954. Ford Fairlane, 1955, 1961. Ford Thunderbird, 1955, 1957. Ford Mustang, 1964, 2004. Mercury Capri, 1979, 1986. Mercury Cougar, 1966, 1973. See also National Register of Historic Places photo.
Good. I have to look all these links